Hello and welcome to Wisconsin in Focus, powered by the Center Square. I am Dan McCaleb, executive editor of the Center Square Newswire service. Joining me today, as he does each and every week, is the Center Square's Wisconsin correspondent, Benjamin Yount. Ben, gotta say I'm sorry about the Milwaukee Brewers, who were swept 2-0 in their short wild card series with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who now advance to the National League Division Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't know about you, Ben, but I'm not a fan of these short 3-game series to start the playoffs.
I'm not a fan of losing these short 3-game series.
I get it, and I understand you were at the second game where they were eliminated last night in Milwaukee, huh?
When we bought the tickets, we're like, oh, we're going to be at game 2. We'll be there when we clinch. Turns out we were at game 2 when we got booted. But yeah, look, all respect to the Diamondbacks. We could have played a 3-game series, a 5-game series, a 7-game series, a 12-game series, and we still would have gotten handed to us. We just look, we won the first inning. We won the first inning both games, man. We just couldn't win the remaining 8. But no, look. Brewers had a great season, 92 wins. I think that if you would have asked a lot of fans middle of July if this was going to be a 92-win playoff series or playoff team, they would have said no. But yeah, it's, I love baseball, but now the weather is turning and it's time to turn our attention to football. And, the mediocre Badgers and the jury is still out on our Green Bay football Packers. So we will see. But as we write, it seems every week now, the timing of the Brewers ballpark funding requests probably hit a little different today after a Brewer playoff loss. It's never a good idea to lose and then turn around and be like, hey, you guys got about 2/3 of $1 billion you could let us have?
Speaking of which, about public sentiment on the potential for renovations to the Brewers Stadium, Ben, you wrote before the Brewers were eliminated from the playoffs about a new poll that was commissioned by Milwaukee's tourism office, known as Visit Milwaukee, and the city's Chamber of Commerce and the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce. Those polls results were released this week, and they show that, according to them, about 66% of registered voters in the state want the city and state to come up with a solution to the funding shortfall facing American Family Field. Tell us more about that, Ben.
Yeah, as I wrote this for the radio, there are more people across the rest of the state of Wisconsin who want to see a Brewer ballpark funding deal than there are in the city of Milwaukee. Now, some of that is just a general support for the Brewers, which is good. The Brewers are our hometown team. Not quite levels like the Packers, where people are willing to give an arm for the team, but the Brewers are a statewide team. Some of this is the interesting thing of the further the money gets away from you, the less you believe it's tax money. When it's your tax money, when you're paying it it's your city or your town, maybe even your county, you're a bit more hawkish as to where that money goes. When it's state money, well, I mean, it's state money. As long as it's taken from everybody, then it's okay. And federal money, well, I mean, it's just magic money from heaven. I mean, it's federal money. Of course we're going to build a $14 million bus charging station. It's federal money. What else are we going to do?
That's like kindred to monopoly money, Ben.
Yeah. We got to give it back to the taxpayers? No, we got to spend all this. So some of this is that. But this is also reflective of a lot of the opposition to this Brewer ballpark funding deal really is driven by Milwaukee and Milwaukee County elected leaders who, I don't want to use the word grandstanding because I think it is genuine in some situations, but there is a reluctance among Milwaukee leaders to pay anything for this. They too support the idea of the state money. And this is the way that the part of the question was, and says Governor Evers and Republicans in the legislature must work together to come up with a solution to the funding shortfall at American Family Field and keep the Brewers in town till 2050. Now, that is a generic enough statement that a lot of people agree with that. It would be different if you worded the question a bit more pointedly, saying, do you think that we should spend $600-something million to keep the Brewers in town till 2050? You add that price tag and it may change. But we've written enough about this for a while now that the general sense is most people in Wisconsin are okay with the idea of using some taxpayer money to fix up the stadium and keep the Brewers in town. After all, the Bucks got a brand new arena a couple of years ago, and that was 1/3 money from the team, 1/3 money from the city, 1/3 money from the state. The state of Wisconsin continues to have a stadium district tax up in Green Bay, Brown County, that pays for upgrades at Lambeau Field. And so they're not asking anything unique here in Milwaukee. It just comes at a time when Democrats have gotten, flush with cash because of the shared revenue plan and the new tax increases in Milwaukee and Milwaukee County. But yeah, this is one of these ones that, you never want to say a poll sounds true. You want to look at the numbers, but this is a poll that sounds true. It feels like this is where the pulse is.
Hey, Ben, one final question for you before we wrap up this segment. Is there any kind of time pressure that city and state and local and officials are facing when it comes to getting a deal done, figuring this whole thing out? Do they have some time? Where are we at with that?
The only thing that's really driving this is the imminent demise of the Southeast Wisconsin Professional Baseball Park District. This is the quasi-public entity that actually owns the ballpark, and it's the reason why taxpayers are on the hook, because it's not like the Brewers own their ballpark. This is some sort of, government-created board. And they, back in 2021, ended the stadium tax. It was a 5-county sales tax that helped pay for all this stuff. Well, now the stadium district is running out of money, and they'll be out of money in the next 6 months, next year. And when they run out of money, then there becomes this, okay, so who's going to pay for all of this work? And that's really the driving factor. The Brewers are under lease until 2030. This new deal would keep them in the ballpark till 2050. You know this, watching what happened in Oakland with the A's and Vegas. You know this from any team that threatens to get a new stadium. These things don't just happen overnight. Charlotte, which is a big suitor for the Brewers or a Major League Baseball team. Nashville, which would love to have a Major League Baseball team. Salt Lake City, though the Salt Lake City Brewers just doesn't fit. They don't have a stadium. They don't have a Major League ballpark that the Brewers could walk into next month. They can't pull an Indianapolis Colts and just pack up the moving van and drive away. So the pressure is not so much that another city is willing to swoop in or that the Brewers are fit to be tied and they're going to walk away. Even when this, and I'm going to say when because it is almost inevitable, when this deal is approved, it's not like you have to build something. It's just a redistribution of tax money. It's instant like that. The only thing that's driving this from a time frame standpoint is the imminent demise, bankruptcy of the Southeast Wisconsin Professional Park District, Baseball Park District. And no one really knows when that is. Part of this deal, and it's going to be in a story that we wrote today, is that there's going to be an audit of the Baseball Park District to know just how bad the finances are, to know just how much money the state's going to have to kick in. But yeah, from a time frame standpoint, it's not as if the Brewers are looking to start next spring in Charlotte or Nashville. They just want the certainty. They want the deal done now so that they have the certainty moving forward. Well,
I appreciate your insights, Ben. Look forward to your continued coverage at thecentersquare.com, but we are out of time. For Ben Yount, I'm Dan McCaleb. Please subscribe, and thank you for listening.